Hello Rebecca, nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too, Peter.
Thank you for making yourself available.
No problem at all.
Now, you had a look at our research report.
Yeah, I did.
And what did you make of it?
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, the topic between, sales and marketing and the challenges between each of those divisions and how they work together to get the maximum out of it. I think the thing that really struck me, and I know that you commented about this in your book, was the research from Aberdeen Group in 2011, where businesses that actually managed to overcome and work together to be able to have marketing and sales actually work together in a team had year-on-year revenue growth of 32%, whereas other organisations that did not and had them working separately were actually declining by 7% in revenue.
That's right.
So, I think it's a really fascinating, in-depth topic, and I think that there's a lot of sort of attributes about it that has it be the problem that it is in business today.
Yeah, well, the report says that organisations are twice as likely to be financially successful if their sales and marketing teams do collaborate.
Yes.
Versus the ones where they don't.
Yes.
Now you deal with lots of salespeople, hundreds of salespeople every year. What's holding them back from collaborating more with sales? With marketing, big problem.
With marketing. It's one of these interesting things, and I think that it really is a function, and simplistically put, as this scenario going on, where sales have got limited time to achieve certain budgets that they need to be able to achieve their target and also their personal goals, and marketing provide them certain support that they don't necessarily believe is of the standard for their attention. And so the question or the quandary for them is, do we spend the time going on the marketing-led opportunity, or do we in fact go out there and create our own opportunity, which they know is a guaranteed success? So, they have this issue going on, which of course leads to other bigger issues as well.
Yeah. I find that in our work, we find that when that disconnect happens, it's actually salespeople start creating their own marketing content, and they're ignoring the content that marketing is providing to them.
Yes.
And both get frustrated with each other. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely the same thing occurs. And again, it's because both departments are actually kind of looking at the market from slightly different lenses. And I also think that the other sort of big issue in a lot of these businesses is that the individual departments are operating from silos, and so because they're operating from their own goals and objectives, and sometimes those KPIs are totally different and not aligned, that they're then trying to achieve those and therefore not actually collaborating. So these are kind of sort of some of the stemming issues of why it doesn't occur.
Yeah. So is it a matter of KPIs, or is it not quite as simple as that?
Well, I think KPIs are definitely, from a management perspective, are definitely a good place to start looking. But it needs to be a management-led decision fundamentally.
So we've recently seen a resurgence of something called account-based marketing, which is where both sales and marketing focus on the same customer and try to either win them over or retain them as an account. And that's been described as the silver bullet for sales and marketing alignment.
Amazing.
Is that something that you can see work in the field as well?
Oh, of course, absolutely. It's interesting. So my background before coming to Sandler Trainig was through IT. And I worked for a software organisation, and the really interesting thing there, I was Vice President of Sales at the time, and we had a Vice President of Marketing, and the Vice President of Marketing wasn't necessarily achieving their results, and equally in the sales team, there were things that they really needed from marketing that they felt that they weren't able to achieve. So, where we actually started creating collaboration was we really got the sales team to look at what it is that we needed out of marketing, and then look at what we could do with the relationship of the client to enable marketing to be able to actually help them achieve that.
Right.
So we pulled into place things like testimonials. we actually got permission as part of a deal to have one of the top law firms, Herbert Smith, host a event for all the CIOs in the law firms in the UK. So having that sort of level of event being hosted by one of the top 10 law firms, and we were one of the speakers at that event, was, marketing's dream, as you can imagine.
So if we let sales and marketing work together,
yes.
What could it look like?
Well, to be honest, it really is, the world is our oyster. I mean, I think that 32% revenue growth could actually be on the small side. Because I know when we were in the startup software company, we took it from being startup to being best of breed, and the only competitor in the marketplace actually got pulled from the marketplace, and we did that in a 2-year period. And Microsoft was, behind our product, and they actually kind of forced the hand of the competition, LexisNexis, and got them to pull it from the marketplace. And that was simply a combination of, the sales division and marketing actually working together. And as I said to you previously, I'm lazy or efficient. So if we can actually work together, of course it makes the sales job so much easier.
And of course, I imagine that the salespeople have insight and direct experiences with on the coalface with the customer that they could easily bring back to marketing for them to then do the right thing to get them more of that experience.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know that particular markets have particular language that they use. And also, a lot of the marketing languages, because it can often be designed from the in-house looking out versus actually on the coalface, that's where there's a real opportunity to leverage the sales team, because they're having those conversations day in, day out to the particular language that is being used by their clients. So that can make marketing and their branding and their messaging so much more effective, which of course in turn makes sales so much easier.
So in other words, sales could be the eyes and ears of marketing on the coalface.
Yes.
Bring back that information to marketing.
Yes.
Let marketing then transcribe it into something they can use to help sales.
Yes.
And so you end up with a situation where sales helps marketing, so the marketing can help sales.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
And you get rid of this, right? Yes. Because fundamentally, sales have then also had the input into what marketing are doing. So they're actually now creating an internal collaboration. So they're actually feeling like they're getting the resource. We stopped that whole issue you mentioned before about sales teams starting to create their own marketing material.
And marketing people creating content that doesn't get used by sales. So,
of course.
So you get efficiencies on both sides. Productivity goes up, and through what we call Smarketing, you get much greater 1 and 1 makes 3.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. And then, the other thing is, when I look at the Sandler Success Triangle, one of those key attributes is all about behaviours. So when those particular behaviours occur, and if you look at that from an overall, one of the biggest issues that I see when I'm working with organisations is, and I know it's going to sound pretty simple, but having that marketing calendar that is actually lined up with the sales guys for when they need to bring business in, and also linked up to the slower time and the slower periods of business. Because that's when we need to actually drive the business, the more demand, that's right. If we're really going to leverage our internal resources. So when you're taking in your sales cycle, you can look at actually how you're actually going to drive that. And you wouldn't believe it, Peter, when I ask that simple question, whether they've got that level of alignment, 9 times out of 10, and I'm probably being generous, they would say no.
Okay, so you can actually take baby steps towards that. You don't need to boil the ocean.
Yeah.
You can actually start with some small and simple thing, gain the trust on both sides, and start easing into this collaboration.
Of course. And I think because, there's this whole history of this going on, I think an easing approach is definitely the approach that needs to happen. And that's why you do what you do as well, to help people achieve that.
And we find that it's mainly a mindset matter, it's not so much a technology issue.
Of course.
A lot of people bring in apps and CRM and Salesforce enablement, whatever it is.
Yes.
And they expect a miracle to occur overnight. Right?
Yeah.
But if your people aren't ready in their mindset to work together, no matter what technology you bring in, it won't work.
Yeah, exactly right. It is attitudinal, and that their willingness to actually achieve and work together to achieve the same goal, because they've got a common goal.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's a good starting place to have it. But you're right, if that attitude and that agreement isn't there, then we see that technology can actually just dilute the issue rather than actually bring the focus back onto what the real issue is.
So it's all up to the people.
It is, Peter.
Thank you, Rebekah, for your time today.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me here.